live all this while. It's just that I think Twitch was not making updates for me. Anyway, let me just open another browser. Let me just confirm that I am actually live one more time. Okay. Give me a second. New window. It's a bit blank, but I'm telling you, I just want to check that live and it's actually showing that. For some reason, when I go on the channel, it shows black. I don't know why it's black. Honestly, don't know what it's about. I think the stream is working, so just going to trust that it is working. Which eventually, if it's not working, it's going to be able to show. Oh my god. This app is actually free. Where did I come from? The frames are dropping. I think it's the spear fence and the dimensions I am streaming on. I don't know, but I think it's possible. So apparently when I focus away, it just kind of just shows the whole thing out, which is interesting. Anyway, so okay, so the first thing I'll go and do today is let me check something. I saw something here and I wanted to look at here. So this is the new version of Lowdown that we are actually bringing, announcing Lowdown Beat. So TLDR, you can try out the Lowdown Power Beat by using Lowdown Beat package instead of the default Beat package. It's a drop-in replacement so that become a default bundle for Beat in the future. Switching to reduce build and especially for large projects, reach out to Discover Production. Okay, over the last year, we've been working on Lowdown, a Rust-based generation compiler. I think they've been working on this for a while now, which is technically, I think this is a drop-in. Lowdown is more or less like a replacement for ES build. Okay, so they had rollup, they are building Lowdown to replace ES build because Vite was built on top of ES build. Like we used ES build as the bundler, so they are now building their own bundler using it as Lowdown. And I mean, at this stage, I feel like because they are building their thing, okay, because they are building their thing in the sense that they are the ones building the Lowdown, and at the same time they are the ones also building Vite. They will know some specific situations that would actually work for them. So I feel like it's going to actually be a very great thing to see them do. Anyway, so let me just keep this here. Let me just bring this here. Let me just also put this here. Yeah, so today we are excited to announce the Lowdown Powered version of Vite, which has reached its initial feature parity with today's Vite, meaning that you can use as a broken replacement. Thanks to the adopters, they've tested it and realized that real world impact section. So we just down here. So I mean, I'm just going to try it. Okay, so get started with Lowdown Vite straightforward. If you have an existing Vite project, I actually have an existing Vite project. So this is Keza. I'm just bringing in Keza. This is document. So let me just This should work. This should work. Because that sometimes fools when I switch branches. So the first thing is to, in the dependencies, I should just replace it with this. So package JSON. Honestly, let me just go into the remix repo. Apps remix. The package JSON here. Vit is supposed to be at the bottom. Where is Vit? Okay, so dev dependency. It's a dependency here, that's a dev dependency here. Interesting. So I'm just going to copy this right there. Then here. Come on. I think I have good internet. Let's wait for the package to finish installing. It's still not done installing. Let me just wait for it to finish installing. Okay, so in the meantime, let me just continue reading the blog post. So if you use Bytexpress or Meta Framework that lists this as a peer dependency, you can override it with roll down bits. So that was it. You can now continue with this as normal use, but with the added performance benefits of Framework. It's likely that you see some warning message about not yet supported options with the protected API. You continue to smooth out across the ecosystem. So basically, just distribute it as a separate package to allow rapid iteration and keep feedback and issues separate from the main package. This separation ensures stability for existing builds while delivering integration matures. Once roll down bit system, the changes will be made into bit and separate package will be deprecated. Interesting. So the current stable of it, as I said, ES build was used as the core dependency for task and transferring many bits progress will provide this. So roll down is being used in place of ES build, so that the ES build is no longer required. Instead, all internal transformations and modification are held by EXC, which is leading to improved performance. So ES build is just going away automatically because Vit is the main, more or less like the major library. I mean, others are using it, but I feel like Vit is the major library that's actually using ES build. Okay, it's done. The first thing I want to do is npm build. I mean, build is going to take some time. Okay. I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to cancel this. Okay, let me just do something. Npm run build. Let me run the build on this branch. Okay, and then I'll commit the changes to the branch. I'll commit the changes to the branch. Wait. I think I've made a mistake. Let me just check something. So there's another bit being used here, which is another dependency. Which package is this? Because I feel like I think it's okay. So let me just install it again. So let me finish waiting for the installation to finish. So if you are a plugin author, no matter if it's Vit or Roller plugin, you can start testing the plugins to roll down this right away. A lot of plugins not out of the volume, some might need to either for compatibility or performance issues, real world impact. So radar weight is still in the development, but early adopters used it. So on GitLab, build time from 2 minutes to 40 seconds. Cutting and memory usage by. This is actually what I want to test out here. So now since this is done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run build on this specific branch. When the branch is done, I'll just check out to the main branch with the existing vits we have. Then I'll run build on that one and then we can compare. So I'm just going to delete all of these. So let me just wait for the build to load. Escaladrop build dropped from 22 seconds to 1.4 seconds. That's actually fast. Like 1.4 seconds for the whole build to complete is very fast, honestly. Is it done? I don't think it's done. I mean, one more thing is there are other packages. I don't think the remix build is actually now starting. Yeah, the remix one build. I have another idea too. Since it's a separate, I can just go into the application itself in the monorepo and run the build from here. So that will just build only the remix application. If that makes sense. So just run build, run build. So you see the Next.js and the OpenAPI builds are kind of interacting with. So when this just finish, I'll just cancel it. And this one's done. There's no time. Again, there's no time. How do I time? How can I time? How can I time? How can I time? Add time before the command you want to. Interesting. I feel like I knew this, but I also kind of forgot. This is just taking too much time for me. Anyway, let me just finish through the blog post. Blade saw one of the front end build times fall from 1 minute 20 seconds to 5 seconds. I mean, building it's interesting. Just 12 minutes to 3 minutes is very very good. Like very good, honestly. Imagine your whole build just finishing in just a second. The moment you start the build and it just finishes. That's actually very good. This is also only show faster build, but in some cases, orders of magnitude less memory usage. For more details on share your own results, visit performance videos. So you posted it on social media. 16. So before with after with meeting, what's the meeting? What's the difference? Okay, let's check on the guide. Yeah, that's all. Integrations were different. But there and there. I don't think I need any of these. Do you? Okay, build done in 160 seconds, which is not actually interesting. Anyway, so we'll see. So this one will just build a web app just straight up for you. Okay. So I know that I'm just only building the web app. Forgot to add the time. So the building actually app starts. Building actually starts here. Type Gemini. What comes next? Vite is generally known for its unbundled ESM dev loading, which is responsible for fast setup time and almost instant feedback. Nevertheless, we've seen some implications for approach at some conventional, especially in enterprises also. To address this, you are working on a full-on bundle mode for the dev server. You go down to performance, this aim to improve the dev server startup times, especially for large projects. So phases one is actually done. Phase two is the merge and then give it a try. The build is the main web build is 7 seconds, which is with SSR. Interesting. So there are some errors as been analyzed. I think there's a PDFJS issue. So okay, so the whole thing is done in 73 seconds. The whole wait, there are cache. Yeah, there's a cache here from the previous one. I'm reinstalling the whole thing again. It should be easier, but then I just deleted the node module. So I want to build it fresh without any cache. Okay, so that I know that maybe there's the expected time I actually expect. Okay, so now the build has started. So I'm just going to just leave this. Let me just anyway, so give it a try. So the whole thing is performance was interesting. So you see, because there was no cache or anything, it kind of beats this actually building this whole thing. So building for production, transforming the lesson, I think it's from the PDFJS library that you use for the document stuff. Okay, there are some other ones, but at the end of the day, this for the client was just 18 seconds. Now let's see the SSR for the production build. So that was 11 seconds. So a total of, what is the total? Okay, it's now building the server here. I mean, the sizes are also interesting. Wow, this signing celebration is 20 megabytes. Oh my god. So the whole thing is done in 100 seconds. Okay, the whole thing is done in 100 seconds. Now let's do this. So I'm just first going to clean it with all the node modules going away and all the cache from the previous builds. Everything will just go away. And then I'm going to run the build again this time. And then we are just going to compare. Okay, so installation is going to take a while, but let's just wait for it. this, I never thought it was this big. 20 megabytes. This 20 megabytes. Wow, it's interesting. Okay, the installation is still not done. I'm waiting for the installation to finish. Really, the frames are dropping very hard. I mean, Starlink for streaming is very bad. I never thought it was this bad. But apparently, it's very bad. Okay, so now you have our original vid here. So I'm going to my remix application. npm build. Okay, so I'm just going to start comparing. So from here, almost everything is the same. Nothing has actually changed in the code base. So this is time. Interesting. So the main repo even have, okay, so there are, so all these were not why is that? Why? Apparently I didn't run my grade, so okay, so where is it? Prisma migrates there, so npm run the, okay. My dev server is running. Why is it that you couldn't find skip save command field? Couldn't find migration file. Please delete it. No, I can't delete the repository. What do you mean? But it just, okay, it's still failing. No, I can't also reset my local database because I'm actually using it. This is very interesting actually. I've never had this issue before. No. Prisma loader from schema this. No, let me try something. I just turned off my whole this. put in the package JSON. What did I modify? Seriously. Okay. Wait, who made that change? It's the last file. But why is it that the first build worked? That's my issue right now. Okay, so let me just delete this. Run this again. But who left the empty folder, and how come the empty folder was able? Fuck no. What's the issue now? Recipients table altered email from required to nullable. The following were applied 2025. Let me check something. No. 2025. Let's see. So I'm just going to have to reset my database now. Come on, seriously. I've been working on it for months and it's like okay, let's go. Okay, now it's getting annoying. Do you mean I don't want to see? I want to reset. Missing script reset. What do you mean missing script reset? Who touched this? Who did this? There's supposed to be a reset here. Migrate reset. Let's go. Rerun the migrations for me. Honestly, I'm kind of getting tired. It's 9 p.m. This girl won't call me. Since I get on an airplane, you say, what will you do next? Honestly, yeah, just saw a missed call from someone. Just have to call him back. Okay, so it's the build is running. No. 9 p.m. run, clean everything from reinstall the packages. I mean, I thought installation was part of the clean. Where is it? I thought npm run clean will also run. Yes. I was actually running it in the run build command. How many minutes? I think I've spent 30 minutes just trying to figure out Yeah, Starlink is very bad. It keeps dropping pixels left and right. It keeps dropping pixels left and right. I'm getting 44% of the frames has been dropped, which is very interesting, but then also very disappointing. Yeah? Yeah, let's continue. Let me just try and finish. Okay, so forgot. No reset is migrate. What's happening to me this evening? Someone is opening my door. The migrate mainly will generate the Prisma client locally, okay, which will be located here, mostly this file. So you see, as the migration is running, these files are coming through. So now we can do a fair comparison. Finally, so the initial ones, nothing has really changed from here. Translate control, nothing has really changed. The main thing starts on the building the app section. So I want to see if I'll get these errors. Then that means it's the errors from our application and it's not errors from roll down beats. Because I feel like this is actually going slower than the one we used for roll down beats, which is interesting. I'm getting the same error, so it's kind of telling me that it's actually in our application. Yep, the same thing. So actually the same bundle sizes. Thought it would be different because if you migrate Next.js from building with the normal next builder to maybe using table. Wait, it's actually faster. Wait, is it faster? Okay, that's actually interesting. Wait, built in 19 seconds, 18 seconds is the same. And the other is 11 seconds and this is 10 seconds. At the end of the day, it built the whole thing in 84 seconds. This built in 100 seconds. Oh, I made a mistake. What's happening here? I thought it was supposed to be faster. It actually looks like it used feet, like the normal feet and not, because I feel like there's no change in the bundle sizes. I mean, having different bundles, I was expecting a change in the bundle sizes. This is very interesting. Okay, the next thing I'm going to look at is, I mean, I was expecting way better results, but then I'm not getting a good result, so I'm just going to not look at it again. Think. Well, let me see. Let me see something. Yeah, so I'm going to pick this week in React. Okay, and I mean, I realize they have more or less like new writers. I don't know who they are though. Theodore House. What's Theodore House? Mobile House. So it's like an agency. Interesting. Okay, so the first thing I saw was the remix post. Okay, so remix is moving on from React. Ryan just published an official post describing the future of React in a nutshell. React Router will be fully maintained and safe, but in parallel, Remix 3 will be a new framework based on the fork of Preact, so they control the full stack. Their goal with Remix 3 is imagining the web, what a web framework can be. The code describes the guiding principles this framework optimizing. So essentially, more or less like they are even rebuilding React in the first place. That's where it started actually. Remix Independence. Remix 3 is a complete new thing. It's our fresh take on simplified web development. I think this was from, he leaked this way earlier than the actual blog post was written. So let me just go through the post. It's not very long. Something you can finish right now. So Wake Up Remix. So at React Conf last year, we announced Remix was going to take a lap. Essentially, we were just going to stop. React Remix version 2 had become such a thin wrapper around React Router that an artificial separation will develop between the two projects. We simplified the project by moving the bundler and server runtime code from Remix directly into React Router basic. Merging everything made with Remix into a great React Router framework will announcing with the limited RSC support. He also announced we'll be adding limited RSC support in I think he posted this. Ryan Florence posted something on Twitter. Let me just search. RSC. Yeah, I think this. No, this is just a name. So yeah, this is it, and then this is, so essentially you are loading the data directly from the database, then you get the actor ID, then you link to the specific actor. You can also use details from the actor inside. It's okay. The same thing here. You are loading the movie directly, and if there is no movie, through a 404, and it's sync. Okay, this is server component. This is interesting. You can actually use the loaders to ensure you've gotten all the critical stuff before the stream starts and responds with the proper HTTP status. Okay. I think he's the one who posted there was a demo. He actually posted a demo which I just want to go through. He actually posted it. It's recent. It's actually recent. Very recently. Remix right. It's been very recent. Oh, come on, interesting. Is it this? No, it's not this. Open router, no. Nope. Okay. RSC React router. Okay, this. Yeah, this. I think it's this. Ah, wait. Why you posted it on the remix? It makes it confusing. Okay, so let me just go back to this. After that, let me go back there. So React Router it's actually very good. I mean, when we were using Next.js and we actually switched from Next.js to React Router, our dev server was very fast. I mean, I really liked Next as a person, but then one of the issues we were facing was when you pick a Next.js application and you are developing, the moment you start, you save a file. It takes like 4 seconds for you to see the change. There was actually annoying. Honestly, it was painful. Like you just write just a single line, maybe even you forgot a comma or something. Like just a single thing, a letter, a typo, no matter what it was, it's going to literally take seconds, and then it kind of made it demotivating in a way to just work on it. So I thought it was only me. I actually tried, but I didn't really get anything. And then I realized you're going to do a rewrite. David did a rewrite and he did it very well. Very well. Did a very good rewrite. Anyways, when we set out to evolve Remix, we expected it to become a full stack RSC first React framework and take on the fresh full stack React architecture, but something unexpected happened along the way. Remix 7 became very, very good thanks to the work on the RSC support team in React Factor. We now have a smooth incremental adoption that supports returning server components directly from builders and actions. We even built a first class story for several new routes, something we originally imagined. Oh, okay. If all your routes are server routes, React Character already feels a lot like where Remix was headed. The differences are subtle, not structural. Then this is not technically solid. It's battled. React Character now powers. The most shocking thing was T3 chat actually React, using Remix, which was actually shocking. Theo likes to but anyway. So a new part. So the thing is they are moving away and let's continue. Let me read. Over the past few years, the web platform has made remarkable progress and so have the tools we use to build on it. But as such, we've also seen complexity and the way it feels heavy. At times, modern web development feels like navigating a tool chain and building for the web. We had ideas that felt too disruptive to pursue in the past, but with Remix no longer tied to a specific paradigm, we have the freedom to explore them. So Remix V3 is reimagining of what a web framework can be, a fresh foundation shaped by decades of experience building for the web. Our focus is on simplicity, clarity, and performance, without giving up the power developers need. It's a modular toolkit that works well but can also stand on its own. From first class database drivers. Oh wow, so I feel like honestly it's maybe something like they are going for, how do I say it? I feel like it's actually going in the way of Ruby on Rails, where the moment you pick something up, you essentially have everything baked in. Okay, so they are going from the database drivers. That's more like, can be like Drizzle is built in, so a component library like Shadsia. So you just pick it, then you start and you're on your way. It just okay. I think that's actually a good idea. This isn't a new version; it's a new direction. Essentially, I don't think this is a new thing. As I said, Ruby on Rails does something similar. So the advantage of Rails is literally everything is built in. You have what's built in. You have, let me see. So so you can just build the API and the backend at the same time, and then you can also build the front end at the same as well as the backend. And then you can also the backend has literally everything you need. But this is a bit on top. Let me see. Then so we need to own the full stack. So essentially, they're actually going full on in the full stack. That means, for instance, Next.js. If you are using Next.js to build a full stack application, you have the access to the API endpoint. You have access to React on the front end. But then you need to bring in your own Prisma or maybe Drizzle just for the database stuff. You need to bring your own maybe what else? ChatCN for UI stuff. So essentially, you're just building everything as one, everything without laying on layers of abstraction we don't control. meaning no critical dependencies, not even React. We are starting a fork of Preact, a mature virtual DOM already heavily used by these people, Shopify people. So essentially, they are just fucking Preact, and they are taking everything into their own hands. I mean, if it has, at the end of the day, Preact is very similar to React. If it actually has Preact as the major, it has more or less like React syntax, JSX, and then you can use it without thinking twice about it. But in situations where it becomes like it's very different, people can adopt to something new. For instance, Svelte came out, people started using Svelte, but then the situation happens where a lot of people would rather prefer to stick with what they have been using. Even Preact has been a bit of an issue. Even Solid is very similar to React in terms of syntax. It follows the JSX principle. By the end of the day, there's not really people switching from React to Solid because of the same. They feel like, I mean, starting something new is a bit interesting, but then let's see how it goes. So, model first architecture, model first development. AI fundamentally shifts human computer interaction model for both developer experience and developer workflows, optimize the source code, level documentation, everything for LLMs. Interesting. Interesting. Additionally, develop abstractions for applications to use models in the product itself, not just as a tool to develop it. And also build on web APIs. Such abstractions across the stack generally reduces the amount of context switching, both for humans and machine. Build on the foundation of web APIs, Java and JavaScript. I mean, this is very interesting. I think one thing is I really wish Next was fully built on web APIs. They sometimes take the web API and build their custom stuff on it. And if you try to do some stuff, it fails. For instance, they don't have the native fetch from the browser. They just take the fetch and extend on top of the fetch, which for the reasons they did was good, but then there are situations where it's not really. I'm actually thinking of what they will use for their runtime, bundling and unification and stuff. So this is actually very interesting. Actually, zero dependencies. So essentially, it can be just one package. The zero dependencies in terms of they don't depend on any other thing. So they are literally building everything from scratch, which is, I mean, it's actually interesting. Demand composition. Okay. So TR, so TLDR, React Router has a previous support file, so clone this repo to try it out. So might as well just clone it to try it out. Alright. Where is posting? Where's my terminal? So essentially they are not using Vite. So if you have a Vite project, you can't actually use it. I think the installation is done. Okay, so let me just run. So let's go into the application. So let's go starting the root. I think this is very good. I think it's okay. Yeah, this is okay. So a server component in the root, and there's a root client. Okay, so the default root is a server component, if I'm getting it. Unstable middleware, which is console log the request you wait for. So asynchronous data loading instance, so context-based approach. So I mean, I don't understand this. I actually don't understand this. So this is a home loader, but then this is a home server component. And then this is a client component, which uses the phone status. Interesting. This is what I saw. This is what I saw. So in the app root, this is just it. There's a DB here, which is new database. So it's essentially using better SQLite 3 locally, and then there's a data middleware, which in between creates this. Okay. So the routes, let's just go to the following routes. So before the movies are fetched, this is a server component, which we invalidate. These are fetched, so the IDs of the movies. Now the movie title is component. Movie title. So it loads the specific movie from the database, and then it gets the stuff. So it's using a local storage, async local storage. So it's getting the come on. Getting the local movies in the title. Where's the movie title? And then the movie load here, but because it's a server rendered something. I mean, my issue is okay. So per every request, it just makes the request from the server, pre-populates it, and then infuses it. It makes sense. There's another one here, the favorite bar. So you get the session favorite. If there are no favorites, return one. So where is the live add two favorites. So this favorites bar here is also server rendered. Okay, I'm using server rendered. It's actually server components. Middleware for batching and caching queries. What is this one? Okay. Maybe I saw something on Twitter like so this is actually called budget. Okay. Interesting. So let me check something. What's the status of RAC supporting Git? I mean, I think I saw a PR. There was a PR, I think. There was a PR. There was a PR. There's a PR by a certain guy who plays guitar. Is it the guy? How is this closed? This is the guy. This is the guy I'm talking about. Wait, GitHub is, why is this 27 days and this is last month? What's the difference? Yeah, so this is the one I'm actually talking about. 3 weeks ago. So what? And these people, they actually do. Honestly, this actually looks ready to merge. I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Anyway, 33% of the frames has been dropped. Yeah, I think it's like that. Replace a guitar.
Sick of that high horse, I just can't take it no more. Don't tell her I'm lost in
Yep, that's him. There's another implementation that was closed. Two years ago. Interesting. Anyway, I mean, I'm supposed to like spend how many hours? It's already 1 hour, and I'm already kind of tired. But then I'm actually tired the whole day. Before we begin, I just need to take a moment to acknowledge the work of Jacob Ebe for years. Wow. He's probably built 12 versions of this. Figured out the best way to support all of React's API in a way that's incrementally adopted by millions of React writer and production apps, but also feels great for brain. So RSA from Lotus. So as shown at your outcome, what did they show?
But if we come over here, I've got my loader, and you might decide one day, like, you know what, this bit of UI, this list of products there, these top products, we want to move that rendering to the server with RSC.
Okay.
So how do you move rendering to the server in React Router v7? Well, you select your code that you want to move to the server, and then you move it to the server, and then you come down here and you look at this products and you're like, what is that? I guess it's some stuff that I can render.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, like I told you, I'm running on an experimental React router in a beta of React, so I gotta restart this thing. Oh my goodness, look at this. Wait a sec. Is that interactive still? If I come in here to my carousel, it is! So React Router v7 will support server components. You just return it out of loaders. And now everything else in React Router still works the same. Loaders, actions, fetchers, our automatic revalidation. Your server components will just get revalidated the same way that React Router and Remix have always revalidated everything. And so everything here is incremental, so that you can take your current React Router apps and start getting the benefits of where React is going. So what do I want you to know? What do I want you to know about this talk? React Router has been here.
Wow, so essentially they're just loading the stuff from the loaders. You can render elements in your loaders and actions in existing routes loaders. This will allow you to use RSC only where you want to facilitate incremental adoption. A really compelling use case for RSC is when your data determines your component. So that's RSC, every component. Oh, okay, so this is actually very interesting. So depending on the data you have, so for the normal client, what you mostly have done is you'd have just sent this whole code block to the client, the user, and based on the data you have, you just render one. But then the issue is, let's say for instance, a video block has like a video of 20 megabytes, and then maybe the markdown block has a very long text. Essentially, the user gets all these, even though they need just either the image or the gallery or the video, just one. But the whole thing just gets sent to the user. So in this case, it's just looking at getting the actual product in your loader and then returning only the ones you need. That's the content here. So inside the content, if you only need the image, you just return the image block and the rest will just be thrown somewhere. So for the client only have access to this image block in this content section. But then at the end of the day, maybe another client somewhere needs a gallery. So it's not, the sizes there won't be a need to import or save all of this as part of the client's band, which will reduce the size very much. It's actually very interesting. This use case is particularly evident when backing your sites with CMS and Shopify, a kind of activity filled with dashboards and social media. By returning RSC contents from it, you can get this benefit without going all in on several components everywhere. So several component route. So this is RSC from loaders. Another section is the several component route. So current routes can be thought of as client component route. So the existing routes in React Router, they are bundled and sent to the browser, allowing you to state right, allowing you to use state, allowing you to use there's a typo here, allowing you to use states right inside the route of your component. Returning RSC contents from the loader sent to the client component isn't a full architecture that React is going with the RSC. In support of that vision, you can also create RSC first several component routes, or SCRs, not to be confused with RSC or even CSR. I mean, it's getting confusing. You have SSR and you have ISR. Okay, so client routes, server routes, that's better, are defined by exporting a server component instead of default. Okay, so you have to actually export a server component. When this makes sense, exporting, so then anyone who actually looks at the code base knows that this specific thing is actually a server component. My pronunciation, React Router will no longer bundle this route for the client like it does other routers. The only code that will go to the browser for this router are rendered in the use client windows. So essentially, only bundle is the ones that are needed for the client. This route. So this isn't going to the client. So note that nested router can be made between several routers and existing clients. So you can use RSC when it makes sense so you can locally adopt it across the applications. And the next one is server routes and loaders and actions. So now you see previously you just have just the loaders. Maybe it's a normal application, you have the loader section. It can be a client section, a client. So this is a default one. Okay. It says, I think here it says instead of exporting defaults. Okay. And this one is a client. So the moment it's not server, the name is not a server component, you assume it's just a client component. So this whole thing, a part will get sent to the client and most of this will get sent to the client. Where is it? None of this will get sent to the client. Now this is just combining both of them. Okay, so you can have a server component route, but then you can also load stuff, prefetch stuff in the loader. So redirect if not authenticated, so you get the user Then you just send the user to log in. You get the project. The user is allowed to use the project. You just preload the comment and just return the project, and you use the project screen here. And there's also server functions also. Server function is defined with use server also supported. Genuinely, I hate this directive thing, honestly. Use client, use server, use the server only. I kind of hate it naturally. And not a per se. I feel like it just kind of separates from the whole flow of the code base. I mean, look at this whole nice thing, and then you just have this at the top. It's not really great. Import favorites from actions. So this is a use server route. So this is a server action, and then at the end of the day, you add favorites, and then you call the server action. I think this form is supposed. This is the default form in React. And of course, client components are supported too. So if you use form status, that's what I was looking for. So I built a little demo. It's unstable and has batching, and this is what I went to search. So a couple of concerns with RSC reactors are n+1 queries. What is n+1 queries? Wait, it's already 10 p.m. Oh my god. So is it like a race condition? Anyway, so n+1 queries remains like having a really difficult, really inefficient way of getting information. Imagine you're a teacher and you want to know all the pets. What's pet? Here is about so who are all my students? One query. Then for each student you ask what pets does Johnny have? What pets does Sarah? What pets does Mike? More query each one. So you don't have 100 students. We are asking 101 questions in total. The video will be tell me all your students and their pet names at the same time. So on computer terms, a repeater basis, noise everything. You ask a question, you get an answer. Happens when your code is again asking how to separate variables. Written at once, brush okay. Which is interesting. Both are easy to do when components fetch the meeting. So what happened with content performance? Yeah, it checks that. I mean, it's interesting. Official Vite support. You note that the previous templates only support passive. That's because Vite doesn't have RSC support yet. Work is ongoing between the Vite and React teams, and things are looking good. I think that's the latest one I just saw. Yes. Things are looking good. Let's go back to this one. In the meantime, you're leveraging Parcels RSC support to help figure out what your actual values like when RSC's first class binding feature. You note the preview template, there's a little plugin for all the TS to bottom with all it's pretty soon. The effort to plot RSC to other React RSC native and Net in the future should be equally linear. By targeting RSC's native this, you also can then interesting. Bit RSC reactive without a framework. So is it essentially like okay, so parcel supports RSC. Okay. Anyway, I mean it's very short. I didn't really do much here, but I want to actually just take a run, check out some few things, and I'll check back in. Probably tomorrow I'll work on blogs, either blogs or weekday, one of them. So when I'm working on it, I'll just stream. It's very likely. So anyone who watched, thank you. If no one watched, I'll just save the video back and place it on YouTube for future reference. So time to hit. Bye bye for now.